Hi, my name is David Godfrey with Safer Pond. Now I'm going to show you the parts of the SafaDeck. First we have the grid. This is very sturdy. It's glass-filled nylon, which is a very hard plastic, which is why we need the bolt cutters to cut it to shape. Some of you are going to have round ponds, again, like I said, so you'll cut round shapes in it. You'll mark where you need to cut and take care of that. Some of you are going to have rectangular shapes, and it's just going to fit right in there perfectly, so that's fantastic. So once you have the grid, now you have the beam. The beam has a nice indentation here, and the grid sets on it perfectly, just like that. So once the grid is inside the beam, you take a beam clip and clip it right on the edge here. I can't do that in my position, but you'll need 4 of these, 1 on each side, 2 on each side, excuse me, and then if you add another beam, another grid up here, you'll need a grid-to-grid clip. So you'll want 2 of these, 1 facing each way, clipping the grids together so they don't come apart. So there's your beam, there's your grid, and that's how they fit together. Next you'll have the legs. This is your basic polypropylene leg. They're 39 inches in length to begin, which is about 1 meter. You'll need the garden loppers to cut these. Very sharp edge, just cut them right to length, whatever you need. These sit on the foot. You just put that right in there, kind of make it tight, push it down, and you'll have the foot on the base of it. This is what's called your sliding support. This will be on the top, and it's what connects the leg to the beam. You put this on top. It's expandable, so you can make sure your pond is level. So if you need to come up a little bit, if you need to go up a little bit, down a little bit, just twist out and get it to the right depth. These fit on the beam very easily. This is one of those things you'll need to hammer to nudge this. There's an indentation in this that fits the beam exactly. You just pop that on, nudge it to where you need it with the hammer. Now, some of you have lined ponds and some of you have cement ponds. So we have various things to protect your pond. This is a beam cleat. It goes on the end of the beam. You want to put your sliding supports on before you put your beam cleat on. Your beam cleat basically softens the edge of the beam so that it won't scratch or cut your liner in your pond. If you have a cement pond, you really don't need these, but you can use them. Again, you'll need the hammer just to kind of pop that in there. So also, when you cut your grids to protect your pond, we have cut end bumpers. Once your grid is cut, you can pop this on the edges that you cut, and it protects your liner. So, then there's a beam joiner. If you have a pond that's rather large, you need to put 2 or 3 beams in length in there. You have what's called a beam joiner. You put this in, also where you would put the beam cleat. You kind of tap that in with your hammer or rubber mallet, and then you can put another beam on the other end of it, and it keeps them joined. It keeps them from coming apart. So sometimes you don't get a full grid on the end of your pond or whatever, and you need to add what's called a floating beam. A floating beam is where the edges don't exactly match up. So you'll have this on one side, yet you only need this much of the grid. So what you'll do is you'll put another beam here, and that's called a floating beam. So instead of being in the right side, in the groove, it's in one of these little nubs that you have on the end. So we have what's called a floating beam clip, which looks like a little A, and you'll pop this big beam into the nub, and you'll take one of these and you'll pop it on there. And that's what you need the screwdriver for, because these are tight. You need to push those a little extra hard to get them up under the beam so that they stay stable. So those are the parts and kind of how they fit together. All you'll need to do is cut it to your shape and put it in your pond. So that's how they go together, and you can do this. It's very easy to do. So thank you.